Good afternoon, everybody. And I want to thank the committee for allowing me to come and talk this afternoon. They asked me to put together a presentation on biologicals, and I'll guarantee you this is not a sales pitch. How many of you have heard the term biological out with the companies that you're working for? All right, how many understand them? That's good. Let me get to the first slide here. But when you talk about biologicals, and I ran into this, I've been working with, when I grew up on the farm, I always had the job of mixing in the inoculant on the soybeans. And it was always in a bushel tub, dumped in the black dirt, and at the end of the day, I went home and my mom always asked me, what in the world have you been doing? So a lot of those, that's where was my first introduction to that. But today I would like to talk about a few topics, a few words about biologicals and what they are, the different categories. Rhizobia and nitrogen fixation, because we're dealing with that as a biological today as well. General recommendations. Then the future of biologicals, improved strain, genetics, trichoderma, bacillus, and some of the other things that we have. But at the bottom, this is my scientist statement at the bottom. So genus and species don't matter. Strain is the difference between non-performance, adequate performance, and superior performance. And if you keep that in mind, we're all of us here are part of the human race. And some of us don't have any hair. Some of us do. Some of us are tall. Some of us are short. And I won't go any further than that. But so when you think about the biologicals, when you get down to what you want them to do, that's what we're going to talk about. But what are ag biologicals? And there's a lot of, I've had different definitions given to me over a period of time, but they can be broken down really into three categories. Microorganisms, which are actually living, and we have extracts, which are non-living, and biochemical, which again are still non-living, but you have metabolites and plant hormones. In the living area, you have bacteria, you have rhizobia, you have bacillus, which I think probably most of us, that's the most familiar one. And then the fungi, you have trichoderma, mycorrhiza. The extracts, seaweed, humic and fulvic acid, those types of products that fall into there. But why biologicals? I've had this question asked to me as well. Number one, they end up being companion products to the chemical seed treatments that we put on the seed. But when you take a look at it, from rhizobia side, they're cheap labor. And they're good return on investment, actually, for your customers. They give season-long benefits, depending upon what the biological is. Chemicals only work for so long, once they're on the seed. And living biologicals create a symbiotic relationship with the plant. And if you don't understand what that symbiotic relationship is, the best example would be your rhizobia for soybeans. Everybody's seen the little nodules that form on the soybean plant. What happens is we put the bradyrhizobia on the seed, it goes in the soil, the seed germinates, and it starts putting out fine root hairs off that taproot. And what it does, it actually forms what I call a shepherd's hook. And what happens, your root hair, the bacteria gets up to right here, then all of a sudden, when that soybean plant needs nitrogen, it starts to form a symbiotic relationship with that bacteria. But they're a great companion product, again, another weapon for disease resistance as well. But what to look for in a biological? We want to see consistency, performance of the product consistent from year to year. Again, we talk about the strains. Go to the strains that work best with that crop or the cultivar, and it's a companion product. It's compatible with current standard chemical and seed treatments. It's symbiotic, it's mutually beneficial to both, and it's endophytic, or at least lives within the root system itself. Just quickly on the picture, I was in the Democratic Republic of the Congo about 9 years ago and had an opportunity to meet with some farmers while I was there. And I actually took samples of product. I hid it in my suitcase so I could get through. But this field actually has no fertilizer on it because the farmers couldn't afford fertilizer. So they went ahead and planted this corn. Actually went to the market that they had and bought corn that they were going to grind up for cornmeal, and that's part of what they eat. But anyway, they planted this, but this shows you what happens when you have the right biological on the right crop. And you see it's much greener on the right-hand side where our trichoderma product was versus the corn on the left. But it was really a phenomenon to see. And you know, when you're working in third world countries that are trying to find a way to feed their people, they thought this was magic juice. And it's nothing more than making sure that we teamed up the right biological with the right crop. But we need to make current land more productive. And I think everyone in here understands that. Our population by 2050 is supposed to grow to around 9 billion people. And we have efficient use of the inputs, so we help the plant utilize the fertilizer and nutrient inputs more efficiently when we, again, we team up the right biological with the right crop. But biological nitrogen fixation, this is probably the one we're most familiar with here in the room. And we take, you know, the soybean plant, we take atmospheric nitrogen gas into, is unstable by normal living organisms, but all organisms require nitrogen, the NH3 form, for acids, proteins, nucleic acids, etc. I'm giving you more of my PhD's input into here. But you know that when that takes place, all of a sudden the bacteria fix in naturally. They're converting the N2, which comes out of there, to a biologically available NH3. And nitrogen fixation by legumes is a partnership, again, between the bacteria and the plant. A well inoculated soybean field, those soybeans will produce around 300 pounds of free nitrogen per acre per year. And that's a phenomenon that we just can't duplicate as man, but we can with the right bacteria going on those soybeans. So nodules can be observed about 4 weeks after the emergence, and we can see what those are. But we have biological seed treatments, modes of action, good coating of inoculant on the seed has to take place. The radicle grows through the inoculant coat, and then the root hairs, you know, become infected. And we see some of that up close there. But also another picture here, the nodulation comparison. And we take a look at our strains that we have, Bradyrhizobia on the left. And these are natural inoculum actually on the right. So you want the nodules actually on the taproot, as close to that taproot as you can get them. And you want them to be as big as they can be. But general recommendations on biologicals, you want to keep inoculants as cool as possible in 40 to 77 degrees storage. One important fact is destroy unused product after labeled expiration date. We run into quite a bit of this, but if product is expired and you apply it to your customer's seed, it isn't going to work. It isn't going to be as effective. And product is appropriate for use only on seed listed on the product label. And we have high shear forces are not good for any biological product. And check the compatibility. I know almost all of your manufacturers of biologicals have a compatibility chart on their website somewhere. Take the time and check that. At the same time, do not expose to heat or direct sunlight. Store outside or unprotected from elements. We don't want them outside doing that. Freeze and thaw repeatedly. We don't want that to happen. And don't allow product to get wet or expose product to extreme humidity. And use if package seal is broken. Don't use that, because you never know what contaminants are going to be getting into that container. And again, do not use after label expiration date. There's some fail factors, and this is where I want to take a few minutes and really camp out with you. If you have storage, make sure it's adequate in that temperature range that I gave you a couple of slides ago, in that 40 to 77 degree range. Water, all right? Water supply with a biological is very important. If you're using chlorinated water, you're killing all the bradyrhizobia, you'll be killing the trichoderma, the bacillus, whatever that you're wanting to apply to the seed. And some of the fail factors too, says how are products handled after treating? If it goes into a bulk bag or it goes into a hopper wagon for your customer, and he pulls that out and lets it set out in the hot sunshine, you're baking the bacteria or the trichoderma or the fungi that's on there. But we got to have make sure we have good coverage. Poor coverage a lot of times will not help out with that either. And again, a check for expired product. Okay, live products need to be treated as live, which we just talked about. Again, heat will kill. Sunlight is also toxic. It's the UV rays that in the sunlight that are actually detrimental on all biologicals that are applied to the seed. And make sure that it's stored below 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And again, cool and dry and climate controlled. And if you take a look at the package that your biological product is coming in, you'll probably find the standards here listed, and pay attention to those. Again, water quality. Chlorination of water is death to the biological product. I was called out on a complaint one time in the Mid-South, and one of the things that we looked at, there weren't any nodules on these soybeans. And we went back and we found out that they used chlorinated water, and they also put a dechlorinated product in there to get rid of the chlorine. But the fine print on the bottle of the dechlorinator that they used said it also contains a bactericide. So make sure you take a good look. But we recommend the use of a water filtration system. And no matter where you are, if you're in the city or out in the country, those filtration systems are a couple $100 and they go right in line. And that will make sure that you have no problems getting the product on the right way. Again, product handling. Only open and fill what may be used quickly. A lot of times, some fill the tank and forget. This doesn't work. Most of the time, you've got a 4-hour window. If it goes into the premix tank or even into a separate sequential type tank on the treater, you got a 4-hour window, and do the best you can to stay within that time range. And strongly recommend processors, users open what can be applied in that that labeled area or within that 4-hour window. Product coverage. Product will not work if it's not on the seed. And strongly recommended, again, that process users ensure proper calibration and check often. Biologicals may not need full coverage because they can grow, but still have to be applied in the correct dosing. Again, the expired product, make sure you check the labels. And the future of biologicals, it's just wide open. I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years, and we've just barely touched the tip of the iceberg on the technologies and things that are coming forward. We continue to do research, and a lot of companies are entering this market, and it's beneficial to the farmer because that means competition, and we're going to have a race to get to the best products we can possibly get. Again, I'm going to skip through some of these, but our strains colonize the roots that grow and proliferate in the rhizosphere. They're competent, which means that they'll live there, particularly our trichoderma strains, or most trichodermas that grow on the root system, the entire season until that plant flowers, and at that time the carbohydrates and sugars slow down coming out of the root system, and your biologicals will start to die off. But we use a process called smart selection, which allows us to go through and choose the right biological for that crop before we ever take it out into the field. And this is really important discovery in the marketplace because we're able to do some screening in the greenhouse itself and not have to put out 250,000 plots to be able to get the right biological for the crop, whether it be corn, soybeans, cereals, cotton, sugarcane. Understanding how it works is also very, very important. And how it works on the specific crop, when we start to match up different biologicals, some people are taking a shotgun approach that may have 14 or 15 biological products and biologicals combined into one product. Our philosophy is it needs to be, you need to drill down and make sure that you know how your biologicals work and what they do, on each crop as well. One thing I forgot to answer, or bring up, and I'm going to try to answer this before it comes up. How many of you have an atomizer in your treater? Okay. You know what an atomizer does to a live bacteria, particularly Bradyrhizobia? It breaks the walls down. So our recommendation is not to put a living organism across that atomizer wheel. And it's very easy to put a second small tank on that treater, bypass the atomizer, and get the full benefit of your biologicals at that time. Okay. Questions? Comments? You guys are an easy group. It's after lunch, right? Thank you very much. I do appreciate the time.